Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and in this video I'm going to be talking a little bit about the Legion Time Walking, specifically the Mage Tower 9.1.5 that will be coming out, a little bit about a month after the patch drops. The Mage Tower will become active in early December, so right before the holidays. That also gives them time to tune it because it's not particularly tuned. So I was able to get on the PTR and test it out a little bit. What you'll see in the background video is just my ret testing. And this was not doable as ret. I'm willing to say that, unless like you found some shenanigans. For a little while, you could use like your Heart of Azeroth necklace and stuff like that from BFA, but without any kind of shenanigans, it wasn't really possible. I consider myself to be a good player, and when I hit the Hardened Rage and there's still like 30% health to go, yeah, I don't think anyone's gonna find 30% damage more. So yeah, it was definitely rough, but I was also able to glean some things from some other challenges as well. Obviously, there's only so much time you can't, unless you literally have all day to play. Can't really test all the challenges out yourself. But I was talking with some people on how they felt about some things as well. Just the overall takeaways would be there's a couple that are either undoable or close to undoable. I would say the ret one. So not necessarily. I would say the ret challenge, the Sigrid in the Halls of Valor, is pretty much undoable regardless of your spec or what class you're doing it on. And then there's some other ones that are there's like at least one other one that's either undoable or again very close to undoable. But that's just the way they're tuned right now. Obviously, they're not going to tune them to be impossible. They're just difficult. Most of them are just difficult but doable. And then I think there's at least one that's super easy, but there might be two that are super easy. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if those got tuned slightly harder, but not a ton harder. I think they're fine with having a couple that are easy, but they're definitely not going to have any that are not doable when it goes live, especially at such a thing. And the only reason it wasn't doable, to be clear, is because of the enraged timer. There's just such a TPS check, and we have no borrowed power in there whatsoever. As ret, without Divine Toll, we can't even do our execution sentence, final reckoning stuff, like shenanigans, at least not to the level that causes the unique high damage output. So that was a bit disappointing, but the mechanic stuff, I got that down pretty good. I actually went and watched my video on how to do it because I forgot some of the mechanics, and it was actually quite helpful. I will be doing an updated video for this. I have not a lot better, but I have better quality videos these days, so I will be doing an updated version of the video. But hey, if you that old one actually did work, because I was able to, after watching that, I was able to do all the mechanics, and yeah, it was really helpful. I just didn't have the damage to finish it off, unfortunately, which I don't think anybody will, frankly. I guess some people got it to 15%. I imagine those were not ret players that did that. And I don't know what they mean by 15% because the fight ends at like 19%. So I don't know if they got it to like 34%, because I was only getting it to like 50% myself. So that's where I was at on it. So like I said, there's a couple that are really hard. There's at least one that's pretty easy, but I think it might have been two. And most of them are actually tuned pretty good to where it's quite difficult. But if you can do all the mechanics, then you will complete it. So that's the good news. I think it's the undoable nature is focused around enrage timers, whether that's a soft enrage or a hard enrage like the ret one. I believe one of them, and again, this is just conjecture. I didn't test it out, but I believe like the tank one was said to either be undoable or maybe doable by just people who could play tanks at a high DPS rate. So maybe they know all the best trinkets or something to use. But I heard that one was pretty hard, and apparently there's a mechanic that eventually it casts so many times that you can't live through it or something like that. So that's what they were talking about when it comes to that. So overall, though, I had a lot of fun doing it again. Obviously, I hope that they, as I've said in other videos, I hope that they just make a new version of this at some point. It's fun to have this, but some new challenges would be nice. All those mechanics on the Route 1, man, it's rough, and I was ready to give up at some points, but yeah, it was rough, but I eventually, like I said, I got the mechanics down. That didn't become the issue anymore. You do have enough damage to break the shield as a ret, That if you remember the encounter at all, you'll know what I'm talking about. But the caster puts a shield on, you have to break and interrupt the cast. That I didn't have trouble with. I did try to save my Wake of Ashes for it, at least, when I could. But even without it, you have just enough, I believe, to kind of get through it. Gear doesn't matter. That's something somebody might ask. Gear doesn't matter. It's all scaled. So I know some people were doing it on like level 50s, at least the really easy one. It's the Affliction Lock Shadow Priest one that's really, really simple, whatever one that one is. And there's other specs that have that as well. And someone was, I know at least one person was able to do that as level 50. And so like they were at like the proper scaling, I guess. But everything is scaled in there, so it doesn't matter what you're wearing. If it's higher than the item level, it just gets scaled down to it. So you could really you can use other trinkets as well. Then you know what I mean from either BFA or Legion or whatever, and you'd get pretty good advantage from that if those trinkets just happen to be better trinkets. So those are some things to think about there. I did want to just put this video out because just once again to remind I will be doing guides for this. Well, I was even thinking about just doing the guide if I was able to complete this, and I could technically, but while it's in this state where you can't finish it, I don't think that's worth doing right now. So I will be doing that, when it goes live, I guess. Since I have this practice in here, I imagine I'll be getting it done pretty quickly if they nerf the enrage timer thing, and I'll get that guide up pretty quickly, probably on the day it comes out. So that'll be cool. Look out for that, and then I will be plugging through, trying to do as many of the other ones that I can as well. Stay tuned for a patch notes video coming out as well. But I think that's about it for this video. As always, I do ask you to please subscribe to the channel. It helps me out so much. And other than that, everybody, have a good one.